What's up, guys? It's ProfessorBroman. I'm back here in Destiny, just derping around a little bit on Mars here, doing our daily on the Xbox, because I'm trying to make sure we have the Xbox and PlayStation characters all ready for the end of Crota, which is coming out on the 9th. But I wanted to go over a lot of the changes that are going to be happening this week, and specifically something that's got a lot of people. We'll just lead with it because people are worried about this. People are worried about this. So, there are some changes coming. Changes coming to exotic gear. As part of the update, okay, exotic armor and weapons, as you already know, I'm sure, do not require ascendant materials to upgrade anymore. Instead, you kind of have to do a capstone with exotic shards, right? But, and we knew this was probably going to be coming. What we were thinking about was, okay, Bungie's going to have some way to deal with the fact that these new exotics are going to have more power, they're going to have higher light scaling if they're armor. We need to figure out what they're going to do. So we thought Bungie was going to have some sort of reforging, right? Kind of like in the Iron Banner. But what they ended up doing is it's very similar to reforging, sans the perk reroll. So what happens is you're going to take your exotic gear to Xur when he comes to visit. And when Xur comes to visit, he is going to give you the option to upgrade some of your gear. He'll be, whatever your exotic is, if you've already got it, you can upgrade it to a version that can acquire more attack power or more defense. Now, this comes with the sacrifice of all of your weapons' progress. Now, at first glance, I can see how this could definitely be frustrating to a lot of people, but you're not just giving up your exotic. You're not giving up all of the time that you've spent on this weapon. You're trading it for a better version of itself. I think it's a very fair trade, because if you just all of a sudden could, you know, swap in an upgrade and you have 2 more nodes to upgrade, and even if they cost it something like 500,000 experience apiece, that would feel a lot crappier, in my opinion, than being able to just kind of level the whole gun again. Like, I enjoy the process of filling out a skill tree of any of my weapons, even if it's, you know, something that's not super duper fun. It's an enjoyable process. And I realize that exotics take a ton of experience, and if you're a casual player, it's going to take you a little bit probably to level them back up. But it's still within the feasible range of, you know, a casual play. Now, if you're someone who plays, you know, hardcore all the time, it's obviously not a change that's going to affect you too terribly much, because you're already investing a lot of time in it every day. But if you're one of those folks who's only got, you know, 2 hours to play every day, and those, when I'm making videos, I'll be honest, I'm thinking about you guys. I'm thinking about the people who come home from work, you know, you put your kids to bed, and you got yourself 2 hours to play some Destiny, you know, before you got to write off the rest of your day. Or, you know, you have a little bit of time before you've got to go do the rest of your stuff every day. Now, this seems, at first glance, it seems super duper unfair to this, but my friend and fellow stream partner and raid buddy, King Gathalion, who you might watch some of his stuff on here, he got in contact with some people and got some confirmation that even the upgraded exotics are going to take a little bit less experience to level up. So that softens the blow a little bit. But releveling an exotic, if you're a casual player, is kind of a rough go. But at the end, it's something that you'll be able to get done. And primarily, and I was thinking through this, you know, while I was playing, there's not a huge need for these until the hard mode raid. And the normal mode raid is going to come out. It's going to unlock. It's going to be level 30. It's going to be a ton of fun, but you don't really need to worry about it until you get the hard mode raid. You're not going to want that level 32 scaled exotic gear right off the bat, because it's not going to give you that initial necessary, you know, you're not going to be taking more damage. It's not going to translate into more damage output for you, because everything's going to be limited to level 30. Or maybe a little bit of damage reduction towards the end. Who knows how they're going to scale the raid, where it will end at. It could be 30 all the way through. It could end at 33, and I could eat my words. But either way, it's going to be a little bit before the hard mode raid unlocks, so it gives you some time to catch up and upgrade your exotics and get them back on par. I'm very much looking forward to that. Additionally, and this is another huge change for the casual players, and I think this is another one there's no gray area. It's just positive. The new legendary gear is going to be sold by the Vanguard and Crucible members, and it is going to have more attack power and more defense, and I think that it's fair to assume it will also have better light scaling, because that's kind of what you come to expect when you see increased attack power, increased defense. You're seeing more, more light in there as well. And this is available to everyone, whether or not you have the DLC. You can get these new upgrades, and I think that's great. Now, along with this comes a thing that's a little bit of a change, and this is a little bit of a kick in the face if you're a casual player. In order to buy these new items, they're going to require Crucible and Vanguard commendations. So, how do you get these? What are they? So basically, as you go through Destiny and you rank up your Vanguard, you rank up your Crucible, you get stuff, right? You get packages from them at every rank beyond rank 3. And inside of these packages, you're going to have a commendation. A nice commendation, right? And you can trade that in, I guess, I'm assuming with some of your marks to get an upgrade for your not an upgrade, sorry, my bad. To get some of this new gear for your character. Now, I think that's pretty cool. I mean, it's a nice balanced system. But, getting the commendations, if you're someone who's not playing a lot every day, it might be a little difficult, But even then, every week, if you do the Nightfall and you do your Nightfall, you do your weekly every week, you're going to be ending up with a really high amount of rep. You do that, it gets you about halfway through. At least for me it does, or it seems like it does. I'm not the best with numbers, but it's close. And so, you can still make progress there, and it is progress that you're going to make by playing the game, not by doing anything outside of something else. Now, all these changes would be a huge slight if it weren't for the big update that kind of came on Monday, and that big update let you get materials anywhere in the game. They turned off material farming, essentially. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, and because of that, I think it really saves the rank commendations to buy the legendaries from becoming a really, really heavy weight on the casual player. Because they certainly would be if you still had to do everything that they're wanting you to do, and then in addition to that, you had to do, oh god, I made a mistake. In addition to that, you ended up having to also grind out all the materials. That's in my opinion, that would be a bit much. So I'm very much looking forward to the changes. I'm looking forward to getting better versions of all my favorite weapons to play with. I love that. I love leveling things up again, and I think that it's definitely a change, and there's going to be some settling in time. It's going to be difficult to get used to all of the changes at first, especially if you're used to playing one way. It's always not fun to relearn how to play a game, and with Destiny, I think we're learning more and more as these updates come out. We're going to have to probably adjust our playstyle and the way we maybe spend our day-to-day in the game. Whereas you maybe had a day every week where you're like, well, this is my day to farm out materials. Now you don't have to do that anymore. They've given you some time back by consolidating. And now you may have to take a day and farm rep instead so you can get your commendations, or take a day to farm bounties to level up your new exotics. Or hopefully get exotics and exotic shards and things like that. So it's gonna change the way the game kind of flows and feels a lot. But in the end, it's gonna be something that's definitely worth it. There's also some PvP and PvE changes. Obviously the PvP, they're gonna introduce a whole bunch of new arenas, right? And you're going to be able to have, all sorts of really fun experiences there. I'm looking forward to the new maps. I don't play a lot of PvP. But new maps are always fun. New maps always get me re-involved in PvP, and if I find a map that I fall in love with, that usually sucks me into PvP really hard, because I'm a one more hit kind of person, and if I can just get that map one more time, I'm like, yeah, this is my map. I love it. With a light level total increase to 32, heroics and nightfalls have been increased by 2 levels to keep up with the content. the level increases, and the gear items. So the Nightfall and the Heroic Strike, the weekly events, are going to be light level 30 now. Now, I don't know if that means you're going to have the option. If the option is going to be presented, you want to do this light level 30 or light level 20, and if there will be different rewards for each. If there are, that is phenomenal and very exciting. If it's not, I do kind of see that being a slight issue. I would much, much rather have the option to select it and just make it impossible for anyone who's not level 30 to play the Nightfall. That's not okay. That's not okay. But I don't think they'll do that. I think they'll have the difficulty slider in there. And the other big changes is that the economy inside of the Crota is going to be different than the Vault of Glass. Okay, the reward system is going to address some issues that they've had with the Vault of Glass. Primarily, the raid loot in Crota's End is going to drop at a higher rate. If you follow me on Twitch, and you watch me stream there, you know how hard it was, the struggle for me to get raid drops. And even then, you know, the struggle is never over. I had to get 30 on 2 of my characters with the Iron Banner event, which was huge for me. I was very thankful for that. But having up to 30, near 30 raid completions total and not being able to say, I have all 30s, was difficult. So the increased raid drop rate is going to be awesome for everybody. Now, additionally, the new raid gear is going to have a wider variety of perks, so it's not going to be like, oh, I got this drop. It always has this perk. There's going to be some differentiation. I'm very excited about that. Raid weapons and gear in Crota's End will not require ascendant materials, so you won't be needing to use the raid. You won't need ascendant shards to level up your raid gear. You won't need it to hit 32. You'll need radiant materials, which you acquire by breaking down things from inside of the event itself. I think that's a solid move. You know, you will use that to upgrade the gear. So you get better at raiding, and you get better at your raid gear gets better by raiding, and that is a cool mechanic. I like that. I like the idea that if you raid and you raid a lot, you're rewarded for it in more than just kind of a plagiary, a platitude of saying like, good job, you did the thing. You know, you get something out of it that's really, really solid and tangible. You're like, man, I need to raid again. I need some more, you know, shards. I need some more radiant shards. I need more radiant energy to upgrade my equipment. And once you get that, you're like, yes, like, I'm happy I raided. So I like that a lot. It definitely incentivizes the continuation of doing the raid after you complete it, instead of saying, oh, you got it and you got all the drops. Well, hope you think it's fun, because there's actually no reason for you to do it anymore. I think that is great. Unwanted weapons and gear from Crota's End will dismantle into radiant materials. Like, that kind of just covered that. But, you know, again, every time you get a drop, like in the Vault of Glass, you get a drop from the Vault of Glass, you're like, yes, this is not the thing I wanted, so I don't care. And I take it apart and I get Ascendant crap. You know, stuff that you don't necessarily want anymore. I don't need any more shards. I got almost 400 shards. You know, you're sitting there thinking, why am I grabbing this stuff up? I don't want it. But you will be raiding and getting things that matter to you. Things that matter. Every piece of raid gear matters when breaking it down turns it into a material that you need. It's super duper useful, I think, and very, very smart gameplay programming, in my opinion. I'm very much looking forward to the raid, but those are the changes, guys. Those are the changes. Thanks for hanging around with me as I completed my quest to maybe get a couple more shards on Xbox so I can have my Xbox character ready. Friend of Crota as well. I hope that you learned a little bit about the changes and maybe had some thoughtful insights. My biggest caution in all this is to just let you know, don't worry too much about the change. The game was fun, and even though some of these changes may be bothersome to a lot of folks, I think that in the end, it's going to be an absolutely incredible and positive change. And remember, this is a change from the same people who brought the wonderful change to farming materials on Monday and really shook up the economy of the game. Like, it's gonna be a good change. Thanks for watching today, guys. I really appreciate it. Make sure to rate, comment, and subscribe if you had a good time. If not, don't forget that I freaking love each and every one of you. I deeply appreciate your support, and I will see you next time we got the shards in Destiny.